they will work through us, the central team. So basically from your point of view, once we move into CIJ, if you need work doing, so Ilona, for example, if you guys aren't going to build your own content in the Netherlands, that's totally fine. You raise a ticket in Jira rather than in directly with the agency, and the central team will manage that build for you. So basically what we'll do is Britt and Mark, and hopefully if we can get other resources as well onto the team, they will manage that request that you submit to get the work done. If we have a capacity issue where we can't do it because of whatever reason, we will then use Lead Fabric we'll pass that work to them. But that won't ever affect you or even concern you. You'll only deal with your Trend Micro team. The way that I know the question that will get asked is if you already have budgets open with Lead Fabric. So what we will do is we will use up those budgets on your behalf, but you will only pay for work which goes to your region. So, for example, if you have if you've got money sitting with Lead Fabric for the Netherlands, we'll make sure that work is tagged to your region, and then that charge will go off that budget that you have. And then once that budget is used up, you don't need to raise any POs with Lead Fabric anymore. That'll get managed by our team. So we'll have a central budget with the agency. That also applies to any work for you, Claudia, that goes through the name has escaped me, the agency in Cork. So that will basically anything will just go through that team, and we'll manage everything for you on your behalf. Once we get set up and we are able to expand, we'll also open that service up to other regions as well, hopefully, as we expand, if we can get more resources, so we can make sure that that's working. We could also, you can start offloading work from other regions as well once we're available. Does that answer the question? Are there any further questions following that?
No, all good.
Great.
Thank you.
No worries.
Alrighty then. Well, if that is out of the way, I'm guessing everybody can see the presentation, I am hoping.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat as well if you're putting questions in there. So give us a shout. No, the minute I click slide, it disappears. So agenda for today, we'll do, as always, a quick roundup of updates, Q&A, and then we're doing all about emails. So updates from last week. The good news is that we now have all the team meetings options available inside the events program. We would say just to use town hall and webinars for now. As you can see, there's like a meetings and then meetings v2. So while we're getting clarification about these, we'll just stick to town hall and webinars, which cover all the major functionality that we'll need. More good news, as you can see, there may be a Christmas CIJ quiz. I'll let you read the rest of what Ben has promised. But yeah, I know Tracy Filler loves a quiz, so get excited for that. Questions? Anyone got any questions so far?
Yeah, I do. One of the questions I put in the chat was about Fabric, so that's answered very, very well. Love that we're going this direction, by the way. More like a shared service center, so to speak, of marketing operations. So that's great news.
Awesome.
Second, these trainings are pretty much deep dive. So will there be like a light version for people like us? And because I think it's important to be in the calls, but to be honest, I won't be using most of it. So is there like a generic light course that we can follow? So we don't have to go into every detailed training course that you offer.
We'll be putting everything together in a way where you can just go and grab the bits that you need. Obviously, they're still, we may get in depth in some bits, like you may be interested in email and we may cover some bits that you were not interested, but all the recordings will be there and you can sort of skip through it as and when you want. And we'll try and break it out to like nice bite-sized chunks.
We can probably give you like a specific list of this 5 minutes, this 10 minutes, this 15 minutes that you need.
Like
that would be great, because I think there are also many people in this call who use, Marketo or CIJ on a daily basis in their work, but for us it's different.
Yeah.
So I would love to have like this bits and pieces that I can use.
No worries.
Thank
And
you.
Maybe short video trainings about bits and pieces. Just
yeah, that's the idea, to have like in the resource center, like videos and matching documentation that you can always go and self-serve and just refresh yourself. And of course, always let us know if you've got any questions. We'll happily help.
Yeah, that would be nice, instead of listening to the whole recording meetings with the editors.
I won't take that personally, but
No,
It depends on the role.
It applies the same as Ilana for me as well. I will not use it. I don't even have access to edit something, but for the nurture stream and for some of the strategy later on next year, it's needed that I should know the tools, what's actually offering, what of things, like have some access. Yeah.
No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Sorry, I can't see the chat. If anyone has typed in there, let me know. All right. Well, this one is going to be all about emails. I thought this was going to be really quick and easy, and the more we did, the more you can do. So start at the beginning. Obviously, as always, we'd like you to think about your naming conventions, making sure they match our format, calling out what we need. So your relevant ones here are your kind of email ones, where we're going to say invite email, confirmation email, etc., etc. Where to begin? You will find emails under real-time journeys module and then emails. And so just as that's the wrong one. Here it is. So this is real-time journeys. Obviously, we've got the event planning or real-time journeys, and then we have emails right here. It's important to just clarify that there are two different sorts of emails, just like in Marketo, where we have kind of regular emails and then our operational emails. They have a different name in CIJ. So we have commercial emails, which are regular newsletters going to everybody. They respect our marketing opt-outs, things like that. And then we have our transactional emails, which are the ones that bypass any opt-outs for event confirmations, follow-ups, things like that. It is important that when you pick your template that you make sure you're picking the right one, because some of these features are locked and we don't want you to make an email and then have to make it all again. So it's very important. You can always check as you load in. So we'll start here. We go new, come into our templates. Here we can see Europe transactional. We get a little preview if we click on it. And here on the right-hand side, we should see the purpose. Everything should be named either commercial or transactional. So these are the ones that you should always be using. Here we should see commercial, okay? It won't warn you like Marketo used to do, like this is operational, non-operational. So just pay attention to those. These will be the templates that we'll have built out for you. And the minute we have our basic ones, but we will then have, you know, a commercial event invite, transactional with teams or without teams. If you want to include any images, prep ahead, we'd say. So you'll need to add the images to your library. Email banners, we would say the best is 600 by 200. The width of the email is going to be 600, so 200 is the height. Any more than that, it can look a bit bigger. The file size, as in the size of the image, is important. So always double check that. We recommend tiny JPG. There's also tiny PNG, which is really, really good at compressing it. And the link is in here. We'll skip this. It's got a cute panda. If that wasn't incentive enough, I don't know what is. But it will do a really great job of compressing your file down. And then obviously, as we've mentioned, tagging is going to be super important. So back in our environment, just cancel this. We come assets and library. Haven't done anything. Click new. We can drag our files in here. If I can find one. and then we can just add any tags that we want. Obviously, hash will be in there for the ones that are globally approved. So that would be social image or whatever it may be. Back to email. So creating a new email and using templates, we kind of jumped ahead anyway, and you've seen we just click new, we go into our custom templates, we select the one we want, we double check that it is commercial or transactional as we wish. If anyone is a bit like me and gets annoyed by these tile views, you can swap your view up here to give you like a list view. So we change that to list, you can get that sort of a view. Personally, I like it a bit more. Yes, Caroline.
Just a curiosity question. What's the difference between Europe, EMEA, global templates? So what happens if I, by accident, would choose the wrong one?
What? That's an awesome question. So the difference is there is some dynamic content. So in Marketo, I think it was called snippets, or we'd use the tokens to personalize things, the footer, social links, things like that. In CIJ, we personalize inside the template. So if you bring in a global one, it will maybe not have the same language optioned footers with our offices around Europe as the European one. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
No worries. Tracy.
Thanks. Related question.
Yes.
So if we've only got one for Europe, so as of today, Marketo pulls in like the address depending on which folder you do your email in. So for example, if I was to do an email in French, it'll bring up the Paris office address. Will that be similar in here, or are we just using? Okay, cool. And
yes,
so
it will.
I'm guessing it will be like there'll be templates for Europe, France, Europe.
No, shouldn't be.
No.
There'll be Europe as a whole, and the bottom bit, we'll come to it a bit later and I'll show you.
Okay, sorry, jumping ahead.
No, it's awesome. There'll be a whole chunk at the bottom of the email, and it looks, when you first look at it, it looks like organized chaos, but you'll see there's a system in place where it will hide all of the like office details or links or whatever relevant to other BUs, and just show you for the person's language preferences. So if I speak Spanish, it's based off that. If I speak Hebrew, it will give me that.
Oh, very fancy. Thank you.
Claudia?
But it's not only the footer, it already starts at the top, right? With the email address, the typical send out email address we have in place. So is that in place or stored somewhere and
yes, it is
connected to?
Yes. And we'll go into that. Everyone's getting very excited. I haven't even done my presentation, but yeah, we'll show you in 2 seconds. So back to this, as I said, select new, select your template, and here, this is exactly what you're asking about, Claudia. So before we start creating any emails, there's a few things we should set up. We should give it a name. We should use our default, our brand profile, and here in Europe, it will start to preload some of that send from, send to, respond information. And then obviously we'd need to add subject line. So how does that look in reality? So we give it, I should use my proper naming convention. Otherwise, what sort of a teacher would I be? Okay. Bear with me. So we give it our correct name. We come up here to our brand default brand profile, and you'll see at the minute it just says Trend Micro and it says add a subject. As we click the correct profile, and don't worry that this one just says DAC events at the minute, obviously this is not the final version, it now has populated our from address. And as we click in, we have like the name, We can also replace the sender here if we needed to. We can either search for a new profile or add it in manually as we wish. We can do our subject line and we can do our preview text, which remind me, Britt, what that's called in Marketo.
Pre-header.
Pre-header, there you are. So it's the bit that goes in first.
Yeah. So maybe the change from Marketo, coming back to, I think was Claudia's question, the sender information will not be auto-populated. That one you need to select. So if you're sending it, you need to first of all select that's why when you select Europe, it will give you the available senders that you can choose from. That's why that exercise, when the Tiger team sent us all the senders we needed, they will be available here as a list. And you need to say, do I want the Italian sender or the German sender or whatever, but you need to select it. It's not going to know if you don't select it for your email.
Thank you, Britt. So as you can see, we've come into an email and we have some predefined blocks already. We can go in and modify these quite easily by clicking into a block. We get on the right-hand side a whole bunch of options. We can replace images from our library. We can add links, and we can do quite a lot with those links. So it can be normal links or add to calendar, event registrations, whatever we need. There is also a little bit of styling, so we can give pictures round corners, we can give it some padding, we can do sort of fancy stuff. We can then click in to text and you'll see all of these text options appear, so we can now literally type in, cut and paste, whatever you want. A recommendation, if you're cutting and pasting, I would paste it into, if you're on Windows, Notepad, and if you're on Mac, TextEdit, because that will strip any formatting out of what you're about to paste. If you're cut and pasting from, say, a PowerPoint straight into an email, you're going to make your own life harder.
What you can also do is copy and paste with the option copy as plain text.
There you are. Perfect. Thanks, Britt. Caroline?
In Marketo, we had the option to go into HTML code in each section.
Yes.
Do we have this option here as well, or do we have to think about it when we copy paste?
You do have the option, but it is not as clean as. So the cool thing about Marketo was if I edited the HTML here, then I would just get a box and it would only control that space.
Yeah. We
have a HTML button here, but this is everything in the email.
Oh, okay.
And is quite full on. There is an option when you add custom code, but I'd say for the minute I love HTML and I found it's quicker and easier doing it through text than trying to style it out. Just because I'm quite simple and I get a bit lost. So yeah. I would say do it in this, and if there's something you're trying to do and you can't get to it, then let us know and we can work with you to make sure it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'd ask people to refrain from HTML coding just for now, because we really don't know what the effects of it in this new program yet. So like Mark says, if there's something you really, really need, just raise a ticket and between him and Tomek, they can look at it.
Exactly. So yeah, as said, we've got our text here. We can modify it in all the ways we normally want. It preloads our corporate fonts, so that's kind of cool. Has kind of styling, bullet points, line height, links, all the usual stuff that we used to working on. But what if there's something in there? What if we want something in there that hasn't been predefined? So on the top here, we have elements, and we have this divided into, so we have like the specific elements and then the section types. So we're going to pre-draw what we're doing in a way, like we did in Marketo with the kind of content blocks, where we'd have, I want a big bit on the left for text and a small bit on the right for an image, or I want 3 columns, whatever we want. So once you click on one, you can either drag it and a blue line appears, or you can just highlight it and then you get all of these little pluses where you want to drop it in. So we can drop it in and then we get on each of these the options to add the element. Can also do it straight from here, adding an element. But in this case, we're going to say this is an image. Can browse an image. Let's find someone who we can pick on. I don't know any of these people. There you are, Dania can come in. Give it a minute. And it doesn't matter the size of the image. This image is 600 by 600. It's going to resize it for you. Then we can add some text. And you'll notice the back is all transparent and white. If we click on the section, check in our styling options that are here under custom, we can just match it. We should have useful colors, which are our predefined ones. Text is ready to go. Keep adding, keep adding. These are the main ones that we recommend you use. So button, image, text, and divider. QR code we'll go over in a second. We can just add these in and then customize as we want. There's options for things like responsive design, or in this case, a load of images, how you want it to align. Claudia, I see your hand up.
Yes, so the image, so I think the template is prepared for a square image, right? So I don't know, was the Dania image also square, or if it was not square, would it still adjust, or will it be then all over the place?
No, it should be fine. It looks at the image height and width. I think because we saw some in here, right, that were round, and it won't force that to be square. What it should do is respect the dimensions of the image. So here, this is a round one, right? You see it
like square in the end. So
exactly, you got it.
And maybe Marky can show that you can even change the size if you wanted to, right? So whether it's auto, which it is right now, or you can also manually adjust.
Sure. But then we have a bit more flexibility. That is good.
Yeah. So there, we just make it smaller. I don't know if it gives us a percentage. That would be super cool, but you've got these numbers and just up and down it until you find something you like if you're not sure. If you're doing this, keep one as auto so it just keeps it in relation to each other. That would be my only sort of tip or trick.
Oh, sorry, Mark, I was just going to ask, can you lock ratio then in that? Is that what, I know that's your tip or trick, but is it not like...
Auto is going to maintain
okay, so that's
the ratio.
The alternative of, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Auto width will maintain it, but if you're doing manual sizes, I would keep one auto so it maintains your ratio.
Perfect.
And yeah, we can align it inside this box. We can add a bit of space around things if we choose to. We can add our links, nice and easy. Or alternate text, if anyone doesn't know, alternate text is normally for visually impaired people when they have screen readers, and it will describe what the image is to them. So QR codes, buttons, links, and images. So we can do so much more with the links rather than just pasting in a URL. As you can see, we can like anchor pages, we can go do URL, we can open like view in browser, add to calendar, event codes, event registrations, all of these like super cool things can be applied to images, buttons, and QR codes. Do we go on? QR codes, we should be able to be used, we think, still testing to confirm, but in an email, we can basically send somebody their personalized QR code, turn up at the event, we scan it, they're already checked into the event, we've already taken care of, like, we don't have to sit there with Excel sheets and then upload them later. We can manage all of the arrivals and attendees and no-shows just by scanning a QR code. So I think that's kind of cool. One quick thing, some of you would have noticed tables are not available in the tool bench. But we can help create these for you. Again, this is just throwing in some custom code. The only reason I can't, I could give you a template that has a table, but then if you wanted to delete columns or add rows or do anything like that, it becomes a little bit, it's not as easy to do it because they don't have that tool. So we're sorry, but we will absolutely help you with whatever you need, put in a ticket. Okay, big one, personalization and tokens. So like in Marketo, CIJ has personalizations. It's found in the text tool right at the top. As you can see, it's this little person with a lightning bolt, and it comes with a list of kind of regular options that are available. There are more. So if we come here, we can say personalize, and immediately it pops out with these. So we can say, okay, I want first name. Beautiful, first name is now in here. If we want to view this, we can double click, and here we get the display name, our default customer, our default value, and it shows you where it's mapping to. So we say ignore salutation for the minute. We're not sure what's happening with this, but we think it's going away. And make sure you just, if you're adding any new dynamic text, base things off kind of contact field only. There's so much data in there, it's wild. So we know we're only ever going to want to talk about the contact we're emailing about and make things personalized to them. We don't necessarily want to pull in some of the amazing stuff that we can. I sound like I'm kind of muttering to myself at this point. There is just so much, honestly. It's super useful that suddenly we get all this data, but it can be a bit off-putting the first time you see it, let's put it that way. So as I said, double clicking into it helps us to change our default value. Obviously, this is where it can't match, it will just use customer. And you can also find all of the personalizations over in this right-hand side menu. Be careful here because some of these inline conditions are linked to our footer. So don't touch the inline conditions, Tracy. What do I mean by that? They're over here. Ooh, hang on, cancel. Here we can see this is our dynamic text. These are all hidden away, thankfully, but this is our, as we were asking, how do we control our custom footers? That is a hell of a footer. But as you can see, each has these if else, if else.
Yeah. Does it mean you can never change it? No, of course not. But please send it to us first, because if we change it in one space, we need to change it in so many other places. So if you have a reason to change your office address because you moved, just let us know. Don't do it yourself.
Exactly. Claudia?
I'm lost now, and maybe so how would this email I'm working on now know that I need the French footer or the Italian?
Good question. So it is based off these segments. So when I send out an email, I look at each contact and I say, this person, their language preferences, they're set to French. Okay, when I have to put this email all together, I can ignore everything that is not French. So I'm just going to show them the French bit and everything else is going to disappear. So it's all controlled by CIJ based off what the contact has put in for their choice.
So Claudia, if you send out an email, the footer will look different if you send it to a French person versus a German person. Or that person.
Yeah, but it's just when I set up emails in 5 languages, so how would I need to determine, that this is the Italian footer and that this is Spanish footer? And
well,
you don't, it's pre-done. You don't have to do anything.
Okay, good.
So that's what I'm saying. You send one Europe email that sends out to multiple countries. The person who receives it, who happens to be in Germany, will see the email with the German footer because his country is set to Germany. Mm-hmm. And that same email you send that goes to a French person, that French person will see the French footer.
So it's all linked to a field in CIJ or Dynamics, information sitting, you know, in this customer or in this contact.
Yeah. And right now it's mainly the country that we're using. So if the person contact the country is France and you send an email to someone whose contact's country is France, they will see the French footer. In DACH in particular, Switzerland, for instance, where it could be multiple, you know, maybe we put in some language variations in that whole thing, but we're not doing it today in Marketo. So maybe food for thought tomorrow on how we can make it even better to say, what is their true language, not just their country. But for now, it's the same as in Marketo. We have been doing dynamic content based on country of the contact person.
Exactly. So with the email footer, we would say, because it's preset and pre-filtered and all ready for, you know, sending, please don't touch this. Please don't sort of modify things, because this will obviously, it's not, you may not be changing the one you think you're changing, if that makes sense. There's a lot there and you shouldn't need to. They should be pre-built. So now in our chain, imagine we now have our beautiful, if slightly confusing, holiday reInvent email. Do we send it? No, no, no. Let's test it. So there's a lot of tools already built in under the preview and test. So we can preview and test, and then I forget where it edit sample data. So this is where we can start previewing what happens if it's German. So if I say German is true, suddenly our footer swaps out, all the content replaces. This is just for us to test and make sure it makes sense, right? If it's France, this will update. So we can just test that things are going to look how we expect them when they come out. We can also do a test on how it's going to look in different formats. So how it will look on mobile phone in portrait, mobile phone in landscape. Good to know. Sometimes we get emails that Marketo used to send and you'd look at them on a mobile phone and it would be wild and you'd have to be panning back and forth because it didn't fit. So some nice little features there. We can also check the contents, which will run a test, let us know anything that is missing, any little problems. So we're missing some bits that need to be included. That's fine in this case, because it's just it's the template that needs updating to include them. There is one field, this one, which says the email contains nested sections. Don't worry about that one. That one is always going to be there, and it's because of these footers. So it's this message here, as you can see. You can ignore it. You can click OK. It won't stop you. The last thing we can do is do a test send once we've cleared these errors.
One more thing, when you go back to the preview, so not only can you see how this email looks like by language or by country, but if you want to see like the personalized tokens, you click on the edit sample data. And then you, let's say you pick a French person or the person who you know, and then you would see it's going to say, hi, Mark, because that's the person's name. So you see how the personalized tokens play out, just like in Marketo, but you do it this way.
Exactly. Turn that off. We should also see our default footer for me. So yeah, talking through, we can click and preview and test. We can edit our sample data and do our personalization, testing the different regions or the person. We can check the contents, make sure there's no errors. We can test send and send it over to our emails, make sure it looks right in reality. And when all is good, we can click ready to send, which will approve the email and make it available for our journeys. Done the warnings and errors. So yeah, if you're happy, you can click ready to send. If we want to clone an email, because sometimes we've put in a huge amount of work and we really like what we've done, we can click up here and save as. Once we save as, it will make a whole new version of it. We can update the name and save it again, and that way we can clone based off previous emails, save ourselves some of the design work. For email performance, there's, as always in CIJ, there's multiple ways of getting to it. Obviously, Power BI is going to be a huge help here. This is for emails, excluding newsletters. We can also see the Insights tab on an email. So if we pop back to where have we got ready to send, and we click on the Insights, I mean, we get so much data. It's unbelievable. And obviously all of this will pass through into the data mart and be accessible in Power BI. That will be great. But for a quick view of things, I think this is, you know, compare it to what the Marketo email performance report. That was one of the driest things I've had in quite a while. You'll also be able to see it in Dynamics itself. If you look at a contact, there's 3 different places: Insights tab, Summary tab, and the audit history for each contact. You'll be able to see all of that. Yes, Tracy?
Sorry, two quick questions.
Yeah.
Again, me with questions. First of all, can you clone others' emails?
Yes.
Cool. And then if you clone it, does it also then clone the performance or just the actual design? I'm just thinking of how Marketo works today and versus what. Perfect.
Because it's a whole new thing, and that's why the insights live inside the email when it goes live. So it's not copying anything over. It should be its own thing. And finally, for reporting, when we include the email in a journey, you'll be able to see the performance of the email from within that journey. But we'll cover journeys next week. And that is a speed run of emails. So I know that was a lot. I think I say that every week. I know that was a lot, but that was a lot. So how is everyone feeling? Are there any questions? Help me help you. Caroline.
I have 2 questions. One is, can you show the calendar function in more detail? Or we can save it into tomorrow's call. It doesn't matter, but I'm curious to see how to use it and how to edit it. And then I have a question because sometimes we do sample emails that we forward to our sellers, so they have a nice email so they can forward to customers and whatever. Do we have the same feature here, or how should we think when we share emails with sellers?
So, if it's all right, I'll start with the second question first. When we share that, we've always gone into Marketo, right-clicked and downloaded the HTML and then dropped that into an email. Is that similar to how you do
it? Sometimes yes, but then it's an attachment, right? So, but sometimes we want it filled out, so we don't need to remove the tokenized parts. So then we did a sample email, and then we forwarded the sample email to the sellers, so they could forward the forward.
You could test send and send a copy of it straight to them with all the tokens, with the footer shrunk, everything like that. If you feel like it, you could do the HTML, but remember this will include where is it? All of these like if else, if else, if else. So we might need to clean it up like we used to do in Marketo, where we had to fix the social link tokens.
Yeah.
So your choice. I think for simplicity, send yourself or them the option, the test send, and then they can forward it on. All the links are populated.
But how then if I use the token first name and I send the sample to myself, then my name will be in the version they receive, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not if you send a default. So that's only if you click on the test send email. If you say just send the default email, it's going to say hi, and then it shows customer, because obviously it's going to display the default value of the token.
Perfect.
So here, I've just jumped into another one. So test send to, and then what it's going to be. But you won't need any of these, so we're just who we're going to send it to, right? I think, and then this is the personalized view. There is no personalized text, so it won't give you the option. If you have it, this is where you'd be able to say who the person is or country, things like that. And then the other question was adding in calendar reminders. So let's come in here and can add our section, and we can add button, turn red. Add to calendar for a specific event. Look at my event. Just imagine it's one of these. Ta-da. And that's it. It's linked. As long as we link it to the right event, it will pull in all of our event information, the details, the record, everything, and just be ready to roll.
Can we control what that default message is? Or is it everything we put in our event? Because some information we don't want to share with attendees, but is it like everything we put into the event program will be populated?
I believe, and please someone keep me honest here, it would be the event description and then event name, time, date, and any location data.
Because I'm asking because we often add contact email, and we would like to do that here as well. So
just add it into your, I mean, I think you can even here, calendar content, HTML. You can design what you want your calendar content to look like, totally down to emails with links. It will also give you a text only option. So you have total customization over your calendar invite.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Claudia?
Is this calendar button, or will this calendar button be part of the template, or of when we are talking event or webinar, that this is going to be part of the template with everything connected in the backend already?
No, because there'll be so. From what I understand, are you saying will there be a button that maps immediately to my event?
When I'm asking like the confirmation email for a webinar or for an event. So that's when I use the template, it's now ready in there, connected to the tokens and everything. So will this be the case like in the future?
We can put a button in there and you can click on the link to connect it to your event, but we can't have it default immediately to your event. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the plan is if we go back to that slide where we say the email templates that we make available for you, then you can choose, this is a confirmation email that is for an event that's connected with Teams, for instance. We make sure that you already by default have the add to calendar button, register here to your event. It also links, if it's related to Teams, we make sure that that link is saying, okay, it then has the link to the Teams sign up URL and so on. So the buttons will be pre-built for you, but filling them in and connecting them to your event, you need to go in through every button and actually connect it. But the initial email will already be in a way that you just need to click and assign to your event. You don't have to recreate a blank email and making all these extra buttons. So we'll try to pre-build it for you as much as possible, that all you need to do is click the connection, if that makes sense.
So that's like updating the tokens then now in
yeah, exactly. You just got to point it in the right direction. Yeah. So we can throw in our button and it's got a button, but it just needs to know what do I do? And it's at this point we can have all of this set, so you would just come in, select, and then we can also, I think we can clone it. So if we do it once and we want to have the same button at different spots down the email, then we can just clone it. With these little anchors, we can actually move things around really easily and just reposition. Same for any block, any part. If we want to move things around, we can just grab and move them or clone the bits we need specifically. Any more?
There is a question from Ilona. So that's more, the question is, you know, if we have campaigns. So yes, we do have campaigns, which is replacing what we called Marketo programs in the past. So when you create an event, for instance, and we'll get to journeys in our next training, so I'm not going to say too much, but yes, when you create an event, the journey will make sure to create a campaign for your event. It's the campaign that's going to be in Power BI reporting. You influence the status that the campaign member is in through the journeys. And yes, the campaign is also in CIJ. So if you create a campaign, it's not just visible in Power BI, it's also visible in CIJ or in actually Microsoft Dynamics. So even a seller will be able to see the campaign details. How much and exactly where they will see it, that's still being discussed, because that means access and so on. It's not up for us to decide that. So exactly how and how much they get to see, that's we don't want to promise too much. But you certainly have the ability to see campaigns. So Mark, maybe you want to show in CIJ, there's even now, I believe they added it, right? Do we see campaigns now on the left-hand side? Yeah, there you go, campaigns.
That's
but we'll cover that
on mine
in next training.
Thank you very much.
Sneak preview.
Yeah, get you excited for the next training.
Thank you.
Anyone else while we're all here got a question? Awesome. Well, as always, we'll put the slides up. We will we're storing all of these videos and we will get them into sort of quick and easy dip in bits because there's a lot going on here. But yeah, thank you very much. You may all go and have a coffee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.